Sheriff Todd Baxter, employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. District Attorney Brian P. Green, employees of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. Paul C. Metzler and James Melly Jr. in Penfield Court. My name is Chris Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. This document here, dated this July 22nd, 2026, will arrive in your office tomorrow or in the next 48 hours via registered mail return receipt. So point at it with the official finger of Brooklyn, New York. This is Todd Baxter's name right here. The green card should come back to me. This is District Attorney Brian P. Green's name. The green card should come back to me. This is United States Attorney for the Western District of New York, Michael D. Giacomo in Buffalo, New York. The green card should come back to me. This is Judge Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court, Rochester, New York. The green card should come back to me. This is Michelle Crowley, District Attorney's Office. The green card should come back to me. This is Perry Duckles, that's the District Attorney's Office. The green card should come back to me. So you're all getting this document right here that I'm going to read. July 22nd, 2026. Todd Baxter, Sheriff, 130 South Plymouth Avenue, Rochester, New York, 14614. I contacted your office of fanatics, psychopaths, and freaks 3 years ago on July 22nd, 2023, with 4 criminal complaints that describe criminal acts with simple and straightforward language. The 4 criminal complaints I wrote arrived in your office 200 plus times via United States Postal Service, United Parcel Service, Federal Express, and Gmail. You signed for my 4 criminal complaints and ignored criminal acts committed upon me. Do you disagree? Am I incorrect? Answer. My language in the 4 criminal complaints. 1. Quote, that Richard J. Sieben, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, walked into Penfield Public Library in Penfield, New York, ran at Christopher Chichester, slammed his arm into the head of Chichester, causing him to fall backwards, and hit his head on a ceramic tile floor. 2. Quote, Nayrod shot later Kumar shot 2033 Penfield Road, Penfield, New York, 14526. Falsely reported the incident. Christopher Chichester, formerly 26 Sandstrom Drive, and walking through a parking lot next to his residence. End quote. 3. Quote, Antonio Spano, Fairport, New York, locked the front and back doors of his residence, 26 Sandstrom Drive, Penfield, New York, without a court order. End quote. 4. Quote, Laura Riley, Webster don't transport the personal belongings of Christopher Chichester, 26 Sandstrom Drive, Penfield, New York, to a storage locker, Webster, New York, without a court order. End quote. What is the status of each criminal complaint? Why did you refuse to arrest these 5 criminals? The law is a joke to you. I'll contact you again about each criminal complaint. Your insane, perverted response will be the same stewed silence I've experienced for 4 years. Corruption defines your warped existence as Monroe County Sheriff. You can watch me describe your overweight cult of criminals at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office on YouTube. My language repeatedly describes a violent attack upon me by violent criminal employee, $75,904, Richard J. Sieben, the Penfield Public Library. Sieben broke my glasses by slamming his right arm into the side of my head. Your response to the violent attack, for which I required medical treatment, is, quote, blue wall silence. And then there are links here where I'm talking about the 4 criminal complaints, and especially this violent attack by the psychopath and freak Richard J. Sieben, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, which is vanished, mutes, sociopaths, freaks, broken glasses on 75904 Richard Sieben, Monroe County Sheriff's Office. For 18 minutes, I'm on there about this freaking psychopath that attacked me. And it doesn't matter to Todd Baxter. And the reason why it doesn't matter to Todd Baxter is the next link here, which is YouTube Blue Wall Silence. Todd Baxter is the very definition of the Blue Wall Silence employees of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. Are you in denial and delusion that he is not? Because drink that Kool-Aid in oblivion if you don't believe this bald-headed party switching fascist and psychopath is the very definition of the Blue Wall Silence. So I continue with the last graph here. How am I in jail 6 times at Monroe County Jail, Rochester, New York, Livingston County Jail, Geneseo, New York, when a prosecutor at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office fails to make an argument in Pennsylvania Court, New York State Supreme Court, that I committed a crime and concocting crimes for me with the ludicrous circumstances of each concoction, instilling silence in a prosecutor. It's a disgrace you're unable to understand. I've been an innocent man my entire life. Resign. CC'd here. Every single one of these individuals received this. Alex Reggie, Brian P. Green, Michael D. Giardi, Perry Douglas, Mark Monahan, Michelle Crowley, Paul C. Munson, James Jamal. And then there are 17 attachments. The attachments are July 22nd correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley. July 22nd, 23 correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley. July 12, 2026 correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley. July 11, 2026 correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley. June 9, 2026 correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Brian P. Green. June 8, 2026 correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Brian P. Green. June 3rd, 2026 correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter and District Attorney Brian P. Green. May 17th correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter and District Attorney Brian P. Green. May 12th, 2026 correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter and District Attorney Brian P. Green. July 15th, 2026 correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter. July 15th, 2025 correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter. July 15th, 2024 correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter. July 15th, 2023 correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter. July 28, 2023, correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter and District Attorney Sandra Dorley. January 26, 2023, correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter and District Attorney Sandra Dorley. January 24, 2023, correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley. January 22nd, 2023, correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter and District Attorney Sandra Dorley. 1 year ago today, on July 22nd, 2024, I wrote this language. I'm not going to read all of it, but after I write the language for the criminal complaint, I wrote, what happened? Nothing happened. You're in the embrace of criminal acts by sick individuals that have escaped arrest, prosecution, and jail. Everything I possess vanished because these 4 criminals each gaze upon with ignorance, depravity, and silence. I go on from there. Again, with links here. On that correspondence 1 year ago today, I was on YouTube 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 links here with many names of my prosecutors to silence. And you, Perry Douglas, and you, Michelle Crowley, and you other sociopaths and freaks at the district attorney's office, even though I'm telling you to tell me the names of these prosecutors that have violated my civil and constitutional rights when incarcerating me, but don't even utter one single word in court. Who are they? So, June 12th, Todd Baxter here. You're crazy. Resign. That's exactly what he is. He's crazy. Because he doesn't know what a crime is. And then he excuses his fellow morons and freaks and psychopaths that also don't know how to identify a crime. Like Andrew Reality, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Shannon Meyer, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Don Benedetto, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Michael Houlihan, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. I've talked about all those individuals on YouTube. July 11th, what is the status of my 5 criminal complaints I wrote for? This is 11 days ago. He's not going to answer. The law's a joke to him. June 9th, 2026, last month. What is the status of 5 criminal complaints I wrote for? He's not going to answer. June 8th, 2026, Todd Baxter, Brian P. Green. What is the status of 5 criminal complaints I wrote for? He's not going to answer. June 3rd, 2026, Todd Baxter, Brian P. Green. What is the status of 5 criminal complaints I wrote for? The sheriff's not going to answer. The attorney's not going to answer. May 17th, what's not to understand? Answer. And then it's July 15th, 2023, correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter. July 13th, 2023, correspondence, District Attorney Sandra Dorley. Then June 12th, 2023, April 10th, 2023, February 16th, 2023, correspondence, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Dorley. May 12th, what is the status of 5 criminal complaints I wrote for Richard Sieben, Nayrod Shah, Layla Kumar Shah, Laura Riley, Antonio Spano, Michael Houlihan? He's not going to answer because he's corrupt, because he's a freak, because he's a psychopath. Drink that Kool-Aid in oblivion if you don't agree with that. Employees of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Monroe County District Attorney's Office. Before criminal complaints, right here. July 22nd, 2023, 3 years ago today. July 22nd, 2020, Todd Baxter, Sheriff, District Attorney Sandra Dorley, attached to 4 criminal complaints with this language. The Richard J. Sieben, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, walked into Penfield Public Library in Penfield, New York, ran at Christopher Chichester, slammed his arm beside him, hit Chichester's head, causing him to fall backwards and hit his head on the ceramic tile floor. Then Raj Layla Kumar Shah, 2033, Pemphill Road, Pemphill, New York. Falsely reported an incident Christopher Chichester, formerly 26 Sandstrom Drive, and walked through a park on a residence. Antonio Spano, Fairport, New York, locked the front and back doors of the residence, 26 Sandstrom Drive, Pemphill, New York, without a court order. Law arrived, Webster, New York, transported the personal belongings to Christopher Chichester, 26 Sandstrom Drive, Pemphill, New York, to a storage locker without a court order. What's not to understand? July 22nd, 2026. July 22nd, 2023. Corruption requires repetition. Are these not crimes? Or not? Perry Duckles, Mark Monahan, Michelle Crowley. Are these not crimes that I'm detailing? I'm talking about. It is absolutely clear that the law in New York to evict a tenant requires a court appearance and a court order. Antonio Spano just locked the door and locked me out. 100 times I read that criminal complaint. And there's nothing from Sheriff Todd Baxter. Not one word, not one sound, not one syllable from him. Definition of corruption is Sheriff Todd Baxter. And because of him, Jeff also told him repeatedly, I do not have my DD-214. This document was in my 1980 Mercury Capri on April 14, 1988, when I ETS from 2nd Squadron, 17th Cavalry, 101st Airborne Division, when I was 22 years old. And I drove home from the 101st to Long Island. I don't have this anymore because of two people. Antonio Spano, Fairport, New York, and Laura Riley of Webster, New York. Laura Riley of Webster, New York, who I've known for 30 years and lived in 3 different residences, is why I don't have my original DD-214. Over and over, I've talked to Todd Baxter. On the anniversary of entering the Army on August 28th, 1985, that's when I entered the Army. 40 years later, on August 28th, 2025, I contacted Sheriff Todd Baxter. I told him I don't have my DD-214 because of you, and there's nothing from him, because he's corrupt, because he's a freak, because he's a psychopath. So, speaking of corrupt freaks and psychopath, Perry Duckles, January 1, 2023. Perry Duckles, District Attorney's Office, 47 South Fitzhugh Street, Rochester, New York. Attached to PDF is a 61-page Freedom of Information Law document dated December 20, 2022 that arrived in your office via UPS. This documentation also arrived on December 22nd, 2022, December 26, 2022 via UPS. It was tracked. Have it. Print each. Bring it to your corrupt boss, District Attorney Sanders Dooley. Tell us pathetic accumulation of health afflictions to send the information to my UPS address listed below, includes the names on prosecute silence. What's not to understand? I've demanded names on prosecute silence for 18 months. I'm in court again, and that's true. Because your psychopaths not only takes one corrupt judge, as Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court, Paul C. Metz, Little Penn Court to claim me guilty of criminal charges you could cock. Prosecutors never talked in court for me, yet I've been in jail 6 times. This fanaticism and hatred at your office deserves the attention of the United States Department of Justice. You received the same FOIL documentation dated January 2nd, 2023 and January 3rd, 2023 that compels you to disclose the names on prosecutor silence. You will fuse and crave in silence. Then there's a YouTube 61, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney San Antonio, Judge Alex Renzi. It's called 61 because there are 61 Freedom of Information Law documents in there, and both of them refused to comply with every single one. For Laura Riley, again, I'm on YouTube for 15 minutes, tell my ex-girlfriend and tell me the facts and circumstances of being evicted. And there's nothing. Why don't you answer me, Perry Duckles? Who is it? Tell me who it is. So, over and over, I'm demanding this information from you. And over, you're refusing to tell me who it is. When I send you this documentation, this is on here. Christopher Chichester, innocent man. So, what's not to understand, employees of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Monroe County Sheriff's Office, July 15, 2025. Todd Baxter, Sheriff, 130 South Plymouth Avenue, Rochester, New York. Popular fanaticism and mendacity defines your 8-year tenure as sheriff. You've ignored a violent attack upon me in Penfield Public Library by psychopath 75904 Richard J. Seaman, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Seaman slammed his right arm to the side of my head. I fell backwards. My head hit the ceramic tile floor. Seaman sat on me. The blue wall silences your insane response to violence upon me for 4 years. I've talked about Seaman repeatedly on YouTube. What's your response? Respond. July 15, 2025, he won't respond. I'm not going to read this whole thing. July 15, 2025, the year before. I will contact you again in the next 7 to 10 days to explain other acts of violence upon me because of you, such as at Wegmans at 2157 Penfield, Penfield, New York. You ordered 10 Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees and 5 vehicles to stalk me in Wegmans. And do you understand the insane language or not, you psychopath, degenerate freak? You will lie about the facts, circumstances, what happened to me, where your violent employee delivered me to an MRI tube. I'm not going to talk about that right now, but again, I'm being violently attacked. I'm in an MRI tube because Sheriff Todd Baxter and his fellow psychopaths, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, violently attacking me. So this is July 2015, 2024. You love violence, you love assault, you love stalkers, you love fanaticism, you love injustice, you love the blue wall silence, you're in the business of destroying lives with zero remorse, shame, or regret. The year before that, on July 15, 2023, again, I'm talking about Richard J. Seidman being protected by the blue wall silence. Soon, I'm going to talk about Michael Houlihan in the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Todd Baxter, 73312, psychopath and perjurer. When I write on here that he lied under oath on July 28, 2023, and this has arrived at District Attorney's Office, Sheriff's Office more than 100 times, it doesn't matter to Todd Baxter that Michael Houlihan perjured himself and lied under oath. It does not matter at all to him. He doesn't even want to know. I've read these 4 criminal complaints on YouTube. Right up there, YouTube 4 criminal complaints submitted to Sheriff Todd Baxter from the District Attorney Syndrome. Doesn't matter to Todd Baxter. The law's a joke to Todd Baxter. So on January 26, 2023, fanaticism, perjury, violence, rejection, accountability. I'm talking about Richard Seidman and Michael Houlihan for 30 plus minutes on both of these YouTube links. And it doesn't matter to Todd Baxter. Michael Houlihan lied under oath. Doesn't matter to Todd Baxter. Richard J. Seidman violently attacked me. Doesn't matter to Todd Baxter. Andrew Reality's concocted a crime for me. Walked through a parking lot 4,000 times in Penfield, New York. It's one thing after another with this freaking skinhead and his sick, degenerate employees. January 24, 2023, Sandra Todd Baxter, the first 2-word sentence, you're freaks. Again, I'm on YouTube about Seidman and Houlihan, Shannon Meyer, Don Benedetto, all of them. January 22nd, 2023, was on here for over 30 minutes. Perjurer, 73300, who Michael Houlihan. This arrived at the Sheriff's Office over and over and over 100 times. Lied under oath, Michael Houlihan, about me swinging a hammer on my back porch when my forward motion carried me right through my sliding glass door. I'm not going to talk about that now, but because I have repeatedly, and all you have to do is go to YouTube and type Michael Houlihan perjurer, and you can see me talking about this freak for 30 minutes. So, over and over. November 2nd, 2025. What's not to understand $140,000 public defender, Julie Sianka? You're a de facto employee of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. I still don't know the names of these prosecutors of silence for me because I'm going to seek disbarment for every single one of them. And I cannot pursue that if you, Julie Sianka, at $140,000, refuse to send me information you have in your possession, an electronic file or paper file. You have this information. Public defender Julie Sianka. I'm not asking for information you can say with character morality that you don't have. November 2nd, 2025, Perry Douglas, Julie Sianka, 2 years ago on November 2nd, 2023, contacted the Office of Fanatics, Sociopaths, and Imposters with this language attacked in PDF. Attached to the PDF is 27 free information law documents dated November 2nd, 2023, that force you to disclose information to me. This information includes the names of my prosecutor silence, mail names of my prosecutor silence, the address and foil, language on the foil, same language I just read over and over. So, March 2nd, 2024, Sandra Dorley. This is before she had her incident with the Webster, New York Police Department, where she's not stopping her vehicle. What did you employees think about that? Because you definitely talk to each other repeatedly in the office about her behavior. Where did she get that badge? Is that badge issued to her by a separate law enforcement entity? Or does she issue that badge to herself, or it's a fake badge? It's a fake no matter what. Because I'm really at a loss to understand how the law in New York empowers a civilian district attorney who's not a sworn law enforcement officer to have a badge. And she has that badge for one reason. It's to intimidate anybody. And it just so happens she's trying to intimidate with all her brain power the 2 Webster, New York employees with that badge. Have you seen her holding up this badge? And of course you have. And what did you think about her and her behavior? Was she saying, get the fuck out of my house to these Webster, New York employees? Because she's above the law. That's why. She is a pathetic joke of a cliche above the law. Former District Attorney Sandra Dorley, and this is why she's the former District Attorney. All she had to do is stop her car and be ticketed like a normal person. Who the hell on planet Earth that's a normal functioning person of a certain age hasn't received a speeding ticket? Because I got two in Albany, New York, where I was just going about 5 miles an hour over on Washington Avenue. I had to call a friend of mine to get this dismissed in court when I went to Albany City Court. And it's just ordinary and average to get a speeding ticket. This is not like you're a fucking axe murderer or something if you get a speeding ticket. She can't even stomach the police giving her a ticket. 30-year employee of the district attorney's office, Sandra Dorley. She doesn't want to be embarrassed by a speeding ticket when that doesn't embarrass anyone. Because she's a freaking psychopath. Or was. And this is why she's not the district attorney anymore. March 5th, 2024. Mail that answer your psychopath prosecutor sounds and violate my civil and constitutional rights. The address listed below on a FOIL documentation. Do you fail to understand this language, you party switching freak? Do you have a learning disability? Is English not a language you understand? Does the right of decline of your help prevent you from comprehending the simplicity of language? If you require a tutor, flashcards, a life coach, let me know, and I'll raise those services for your crippled existence. She's not only crippled physically, she's crippled in her mind, which is why she's not the district attorney anymore. And you people at the district attorney's office are in oblivion about that. These green cards have been sent to you, registered mail, return receipt. Every green card on here is the Freedom of Information Law. Who is it? Who am I prosecuting? I'm also demanding other information, like if you're in compliance with Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act that governs sexual harassment. And I also demand to know all the out-of-state travel for the district attorney's office and sheriff's office. Todd Baxter went to Washington, D.C. to testify before the House Rules Committee. And since I worked on Capitol Hill as a House and Senate staffer, my boss, Congressman Morris Smith, was on the Judiciary Committee. Rules, the House Rules Committee is not a policy committee. It's not a committee for law enforcement. It's an internal committee for the operation of the United States House of Representatives that sets the rules for debate and procedural motions on the House floor. Rules has nothing to do, which was once chaired by Congressman Gerald Solomon of Saratoga, New York. Rules has nothing to do with any type of policy and especially law enforcement. And when Todd Baxter invited himself, and I don't know how he did this, probably with a local congressman or senator, down to Washington, D.C. They didn't want anything to do with him. They deposited him in rules because he wants to say in his biography when he comes back to Monroe County, I testified before Congress. Well, that's just this typical bullshit fanaticism and lie. House Rules Committee, United States House of Representatives, my foreign play has nothing to do with law enforcement. And he's billing taxpayers for this trip. So what I'm demanding to know, via the Freedom of Information Law, out-of-state travel or travel anywhere by Sheriff Todd Baxter, such as sending Ryan Fisher to Atlantic, Georgia with his dog to the Super Bowl, he's refusing every time. And when I contact State Controller Thomas B. DiNapoli, I'm going to tell him the Sheriff of Monroe County is refusing to disclose to me the cost of all travel within New York and all out-of-state travel, such as the House Rules Committee. So these green cards here, over and over, I'm using the Freedom of Information. Now, when I say the name of someone who's not Monroe County, like United States Attorney for the Western District of New York, Trinity Ross, or Michael D. Giacomo, who's her successor, well, they don't have the information I need. They're just being copied on this. But over and over, Brian P. Green. There's your name right here. What are the names of my prosecutor? Sounds Brian P. Green. Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court. I'm going to document from him, forcing me into New York State Supreme Court, where you psychopaths and freaks in the district attorney's office don't have to say one word, and there I'm going to be in Monroe County Jail again. So, Todd Baxter, Sheriff, demanding information from him. Brian P. Green again. I'm not going to read these dates. It's going to go quickly. What are the names of my prosecutor? Sounds Brian P. Green. Todd Baxter. Is there sexual harassment at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? What's the answer? Alex Renzi, I'm going to be in jail again because of him. Brian P. Green. What are the names of my prosecutor? Silence. Who is it? Brian P. Green. Todd Baxter. You compliance with Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Sexual harassment at Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Michael D. Giacomo, United States Attorney. Todd Baxter. Are you compliant with Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act for sexual harassment? Alex Renzi again. Brian P. Green. What are the names of my prosecutors? Silence. Brian P. Green. Todd Baxter again. What's the answer to sexual harassment? Todd Baxter. Alex Renzi again. Michael G. Giacomo again. Michael D. Giacomo again. Brian P. Green. What's the names of my prosecutors? Silence. Alex Renzi. I'll be in jail again because it is a 70-year-old psychopath. Michael D. Giacomo again. Brian P. Green, what the names are I prosecute silence. Michael D. Giacomo again. Michael D. Giacomo again. Todd Blanche, who's the acting Attorney General of the United States, was copied. Todd Blanche again. Todd Blanche again. Todd Baxter, you in compliance with Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act for sexual harassment. Brian P. Green, what the names of my prosecutor's silence. Alex Renzi, I'll be in jail again because he's a 70-year-old freaking fanatic. Michael D. Giacomo. Todd Baxter, you in compliance with Title VII of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Brian P. Green, what the names of my prosecutor's silence. Todd Baxter, you in compliance with the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Brian P. Green, what the names of my prosecutor's silence. Julie Sianka, public defender, what the names of my prosecutor's silence. Alex Renzi, New York State Supreme Court, I'll be in jail again because of this freak. Michael D. Giacomo, pardon me, I'm trying to go quickly. Alex Renzi again. I hope I'm driving this Alex Renzi nuts when he sees my albums come. Brian P. Green, what the names of my prosecutor's silence. Alex Renzi again. Todd Baxter again. Are you in compliance with the 1964 Civil Rights Act? Todd Blanche, the acting Attorney General. 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 There's more in here, but you get the picture. There's 50 more in here. Understand me, you psychopaths and freaks? Do you understand the English language? Perhaps you should read The Elements of Style by E.B. White, William Strunk, so you can wrap your brains around the English language. But you're having a hard time understanding here. District Attorney Sandra Doyle, July 26, 2024. We'll be back on here in 4 days about this. Talking about how mail the names of your prosecutor's silence, the address listed below my name on your official letterhead. You will continue to fuse, infected by contempt for the law, to destroy your character, integrity, and ethics. This demented existence is why you're under investigation by Onondaga County District Attorney William J. Fitzpatrick. Nothing happened to her. Do you know why? Because William J. Fitzpatrick is also a district attorney, and he knows her, former district attorney Sandra Doyle. And he's not going to put the screws to her. He's not going to prosecute her. He's not going to jail her. It's going to be nothing like that. Because it's the old boys network protecting former district attorney Sandra Doyle. And this guy here, a typical district attorney. Saul Greenberg was a district attorney in Albany County. He was a district attorney for 40 years. He's right about that age, too. This guy, William J. Fitzpatrick. He's right around 65, 70 years old. And I think he has been in Onondaga County for more than 20 years, not as long as Saul Greenberg in Albany County. Does that name sound familiar? Saul Greenberg? Before I really paid attention to a district attorney's office, there's no reason for me to ever be in front of a prosecutor in Albany County. I would occasionally think, what is this old man doing there that long? So the New York State Legislature needs to pass legislation, and I don't know how they would do this because of the franchise, and people can vote for whoever they want. But the New York State Legislature needs to pass legislation to possibly set up a committee to investigate a district attorney that's in office for 40 years, even though that district attorney is elected. Because I don't know how the state legislature can pass legislation limiting a local district attorney to term limits to 8 years. I think that would be unconstitutional. So our entire existence at that Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Jonestown, and Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Jonestown, it's unconstitutional because civil and constitutional rights don't matter to you people. How come I've never heard Miranda? Does Miranda still exist? I don't have the color photo here. I'm not going to look at this, but Sheriff Todd Baxter is using cameras on me, which I'm not going to show a black and white picture because it's not going to show up right. But May 11, 2026, Brian P. Green, Todd Baxter, 11 attachments from April 6, 2026 to April 6, 2023, April 10, 2025, April 10, 2023, July 28, 2025, July 28, 2024, July 26, 2024, July 10, 2024, June 27, 2024, January 16, 2023. That's the correspondence about the cameras used on me in 2025 Penfield, New York. January 1, 2023, correspondence to Perry Duckles at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. And you just ignore me when I'm demanding information that you, Perry Duckles, as the $113,000 district attorney, have. Is that your salary, or what are you paid in overtime, Perry Duckles? Is it $113,000 if you still paid that your salary or not? So anyway, what's not to understand now that I'm at almost 30 minutes? Is there a problem? See this ring? My Uncle Thomas Valentine Hennessy, of Staten Island, New York. Was a New York City police officer, 27 years. Used to wear a pinky ring. All my rings are gone because of Antonio Spano Fairport, New York. You see this watch? This is a $10 watch. I had a $200 United States Senate watch that I bought at the gift shop because I was a United States Senate employee. All my rings are gone because of Antonio Spano and Laura Riley. My United States Senate watch is gone because of Antonio Spano and Laura Riley. All my St. Christopher medals are gone because of Antonio Spano and Laura Riley. My mother used to say St. Christopher will always protect you. What do you think I think about that right now? Employees of the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office and Monmouth County District Attorney's Office. What I think about that is that St. Christopher will never protect me. My name is Christopher Chichester. I live in Rochester, New York. I've been an innocent man my whole life.